sweeps across the savannah. Wind stirs the dry grass like a whispered prophecy. And beneath the endless African sky, kings walk, silent, muscular, watching. This is not a story of a single lion, nor of a single pride. This is a tale of coalitions, fierce brotherhoods forged in blood, loss, and survival. It is a story of power, of territory, of war, where one victory births a legacy, and one misstep, oblivion. In the southeastern corner of the savannah, where acacia trees claw at the sky and dust trails etch the land like old scars, the kingdom is split. A river, thin, winding, and slow, slices the territory in two. During the rains, it swells into a silver serpent, a lifeline to all it touches. But in the dry season, it becomes a mere suggestion. Its cracked bed a reminder of all things that fade. To the east, the Stone Main brothers rule. 3 males, thick-necked, deep-chested, marked by battles long past. Their manes, flecked with ash and dust, have taken on the color of the earth itself. Kale, the largest, walks with a limp, his rear leg stiff from an old buffalo charge. But it is he who leads. Thoro, his younger brother, bears a torn ear and a temper as short as the grass in mid-July. Boro, the quiet one, observes more than he acts, but when he does, death often follows. Together, they control 3 prides. 36 lions move under their protection. Their reign has lasted 6 years, an eternity in lion years. They are not just kings. They are legends. But legends, like kingdoms, do not last forever. Across the river, a storm brews. The Ashclaw 4, younger, faster, hungrier. Their manes still grow thick, their teeth are ivory white. They do not yet bear the weary scars of old kings, but they carry something more dangerous: ambition. They are not brothers by blood. They are brothers by choice. Cast out of their respective prides, these 4 nomads found each other in exile. Bonded in hardship, they carved their names into the wild. Raka, their leader, bears a vertical gash above his eye, earned in a hyena ambush. Vento is the most aggressive, first to fight, last to retreat. Moro, lean and calculating, is the tactician. And Sanu, the youngest, often underestimated, may be the most ruthless of them all. They have no land, no pride, but they are coming. Across this divided kingdom, the savannah breathes. Elephants trudge through riverbeds, their footprints like bowls in the sand. Giraffes stretch like sentinels into the blue. Zebras shift in moving herds, their stripes like broken piano keys dancing over hills. And at night the darkness tightens. The air grows heavy, and the hunters begin their slow, deadly ballet. It is in this wild theater that the drama unfolds. The Stone Main brothers know they are being watched. Tracks near the border, scents on the wind, roars from the opposite ridge. For months, the Claw 4 have lingered near the fringes, probing, learning, testing the edges like wolves circling a campfire, never committing, never retreating. A lion coalition does not march into war without understanding the enemy. They know Kale is slowing. They know Thoro is quick to rage. They know that Boro once, the enforcer, has grown quieter, more withdrawn. But power is not taken by chance. It is seized with blood. One morning, as the sun lifts like a coin from the horizon, vultures spiral low. A carcass lies near the edge of the Stone Main territory. Giraffe freshly killed. But the kill does not belong to the Stone Mains. Kale arrives first, flanked by Thoro. The wind shifts. The scent is unmistakable. They've crossed. The Ashclaw Four are here, but they are gone now, vanished like ghosts into the brush. The giraffe was not a meal, it was a message. A message that the river is no longer a boundary. It is merely a line, waiting to be erased. Kale does not roar. Instead, he lifts his head and urinates on the kill. A silent decree. This land is ours. But silence will not hold a border, not when ambition surges like water behind a dam. Across the plains, the Ashclaw Four regroup. Their eyes scan the distant tree line. Raka lowers himself into the grass, listening. He hears it, the low rhythmic calls of the stone mains echoing. Into the dusk. They know they were seen. They want to be. This is the beginning of the game, not of stealth, but of pressure. Every movement now is a step toward something irreversible. Days pass, then weeks, and the savannah begins to shift. Elephant. Herds migrate west. The river shrinks, its lifeblood pulled back into the sky. The grass thins, and hunger sets in. With prey more scarce, conflict becomes inevitable. The stone mains follow the game north, hoping to avoid confrontation. They need to protect their prides, especially the cubs, barely 4 months old. The Ashclaws follow as, well, but not for the prey. They follow for the fight. One evening, a lioness from the stone main's northern pride goes missing. Found at dawn, her body bloodied, her throat torn, her scent masked with urine. Kyle stares at her motionless form. No hyena would do this. No leopard. This was a message, a coalition strike. But retaliation is dangerous. The cubs must be protected. Pride mothers cluster around their young, tails twitching, ears erect, nostrils flaring. Every sound in the night becomes a threat. Kale, for the first time in years, is unsure. Thoro wants war. Boro watches the stars. And across the river, 4 lions sit in the darkness, waiting. This is no longer a question of territory. It is about legacy. For lions, legacy is measured in bloodlines and roar echoes, in the strength of your pride, in the number of sons who carry your scent into the wind. The Stone Main brothers are defending their legacy. The Ashclaw Four are trying to write theirs. And so the stage is set. 2 forces, 8 lions, 1 kingdom. The savannah watches, unblinking, patient, unforgiving. Because here, in this divided land, no king rules forever. And when the dust rises, only the savage will remain. Before they became kings, they were nothing. No territory, no pride, no name whispered in awe across the savannah. Just dust on their fur, ribs showing through skin, and eyes too sharp for their age. Before the roars, before the battles, there was only exile and brotherhood. To understand the power of a lion coalition, one must understand what binds it. Not just proximity, not just survival, but pain. Shared, endured, and remembered. This is the origin of the Stone Main brothers. Kale, Thoro, and Boro were born into the same pride. 3 sons of the same mighty father, Mwamba, a lion whose roar once made vultures lift off carcasses in fear. In those early days, life was golden. The pride was strong, prey was plentiful, and the days were long. With play, they learned to stalk butterflies, not buffalo, to pounce on each other, not hyenas, to roar at the wind, not the darkness. But time does not wait for cubs, and power never sleeps. When Kale was just over 2 years old, everything changed. A new coalition came, 2 males, brimming with fire and fury. In the space of one bloody dawn, Mwamba was driven out. The new kings took the pride, and with it, the lives of every cub not sired by them. Kale, Thoro, and Boro ran, claws scratching at the earth, hearts pounding with confusion, fear, and grief. They did not understand why their mothers did not follow, why their pride sisters turned their eyes away, why their world was suddenly gone. What they did understand was this: they had each other, and the wild. Nothing else. Exiled males, young, unproven, too small to rule and too old to hide, live at the edge of survival. They wander far from lion prides, avoiding dominant males. They feed on scraps, steal from hyenas, scavenge carcasses at night. They learn to fight. They learn to lose. And slowly they learn to survive. Kyle, the eldest, took charge. Not because he wanted to, but because someone had to. Thoro, all rage and teeth, became the protector. And Boro, even then, was silent, calculating. Watching every movement in the grass, they moved like ghosts, across burned grasslands, through crocodile-ridden swamps, into herds of Cape buffalo, where one wrong step meant death. They slept curled together on cold nights. They bled together when hyenas came in packs. They shared kills so small, they'd strip a bone clean in minutes. For over 2 years, they lived. This way, no pride, no land, but together. One night the rains broke over the plains, lightning danced like fire serpents across the sky. Rain turned dust into sludge, and the lions took shelter under a fever tree. It was there, beneath the cracking branches, that they saw it. A pride of lionesses, mothering cubs far too young to be guarded by just one male. An opportunity. Kale did not hesitate. He moved with purpose, his mane dark with rain. By dawn, the resident male was dead. Thoro dragged his body into the grass, and Boro stood silent by the cubs. The takeover was swift. It was their first pride, their first taste of what it meant to rule. But rulership is not as glorious as the tales say. To take a pride is to shoulder its survival. Lions do not simply roar at danger. They must feel it in their bones. Every hyena call at night, every elephant charge through the riverbed, every starving gaze from a lioness when the hunt fails. It weighs on a king, and for a coalition, it either binds or breaks. Kyle grew heavier, with leadership. His once playful eyes hardened. He stopped watching birds, he began watching the horizon. Thoro, ever hot-blooded, grew more volatile, quick to fight, quick to defend what he believed was his. And Boro remained quiet. But there was something beneath the quiet, something that sharpened in the space between roars. Over time, they expanded. 2 more prides fell under their control. From the river to the flatlands, their roars echoed nightly. They became kings, the Stone Mane brothers, a name whispered with respect, even fear. But even in their dominance, they never forgot what brought them here. The nights of hunger, the mornings of silence, the bond built not on conquest, but on loss. That bond, so sacred, so rare, is what makes coalitions deadly, because a single lion, no matter how large, is still alone. But a coalition is a storm with 3 minds, 4 hearts, 8 paws, and 1 will. It moves with purpose, it kills with coordination, it holds power not with brute force alone, but with loyalty. And loyalty among lions is rarer than water in drought. But the Stone Main brothers are not the only ones born in fire. Across the river, the Ashclaw Four share no blood. But what they share is perhaps deeper. Rejection. Each of them expelled not by nature but by pride. Raka was chased off by his own father, a male too paranoid to see strength in his son. Vento was ousted after a failed takeover that cost him his brother. Moro survived a wildebeest stampede that shattered his shoulder and stole his coalition. And Sanu was abandoned, left for dead after a crocodile dragged his mother into the river. They found each other under a thorn tree, where the scent of blood still clung to the air. They did not speak much that first night, but they stayed. And from that silence, a brotherhood was born. They tested one another in the wildest parts of the savannah, challenged each other in mock fights, shared stolen kills, learned to move without speaking, to flank prey and predators alike. They had no legacy to protect, only one to build. They were nameless, and therefore fearless. And as their bond deepened, so too did their ambitions. They watched older coalitions with practiced patience. They studied how territory was marked, how patrols were done, how pride males let down their guard in the lull before sunrise. The Ashclaw Four were not rushing toward power. They were hunting it. And now, on the eve of dry season, their path has found its endpoint. Across the river stands a coalition of kings, older, heavier, wiser, but tired. The Ashclaws are younger, hungrier, and perfectly bonded. Their time in exile forged not just lions, but predators with purpose. Their unity is not nostalgia, it is necessity, and necessity in the wild is the fiercest teacher. So the savannah holds its breath. 2 coalitions, 2 stories born of pain, 2 brotherhoods formed under very different stars. But only one can hold the river. Only one can rule this kingdom. The rest will fade into bones or legend. In the early hours, when the light is still gray and the wind whispers secrets across the grasslands, the savannah belongs to ghosts, not the dead, not the ancient, but those who move without being seen, who wait and listen and watch. The silent ones, the hunters of kings. The Ashclaw Four are no longer nomads in name, but they have yet to prove it in conquest. And now, as the dry season tightens its grip, they prepare to rise. It begins not with roars, but with absence. They vanish. No fresh tracks along the southern ridges, no scent along the waterholes, no distant calls at dusk. Even the hyenas grow uneasy, circling kill sites with heads low and tails twitching. Something is changing. The Stone Main brothers sense it too. Kale, heavy and deliberate, climbs the termite mound overlooking their borderlands. His nose flares. The air is still, but wrong. Boro stares across the savannah, silent, unblinking. Thoro is restless. His patrols grow longer, his snarls more frequent. He circles the prides as if pacing a cage. The river has not risen, the herds have not returned. But the danger? It is here, not in the grass, but beneath it, waiting. The Ashclaws have gone to the wildlands, uncharted territory west of the Great Salt Flats, where lions rarely linger and the trees twist like blackened bones. They train. They stalk buffalo herds not to kill, but to study. They shadow hyena clans, watching how they test numbers against strength. They spar with each other in the dust, silent battles under the moonlight. Every movement is sharpened, every tactic refined. Raka demands silence in motion. Moro maps patrol paths in the dirt using bones. Vento times ambush drills in shadow. Sanu practices masking his scent with mud and dung. This is not chance. This is preparation. For in the wild, to rise, you must deserve it. And the ash claws intend to earn the crown before they claim it. They return in the dead of night, moving low through the long grass, not toward the Stone brothers directly, but toward their prides. Not to fight, not yet. To test. They approach the southern pride under cover of starlight. Lionesses, unaware, rest with half-lidded eyes near a dry pan. Cubs lie in a tumble of fur, twitching in dreams. The ash claws draw near, 20 paces, 15, 10. Then Sanu lets out a single sharp grunt. The lionesses rise like startled deer. Cubs scatter, but the ash claws do not attack. They fade, as if the night swallowed them whole. Their message is clear. We can take them anytime we choose. At dawn, Thoro arrives. He finds the pride shaken. The cubs cling to mothers. The wind carries the smell of intruders. His fury boils. He roars into the sky, a sound that shakes the dust from the acacias. But there is no answer, because the ash claws are already gone. Raka stands on the ridge, his silhouette blending with the scorched earth. He watches as Thoro paces below, marking, growling, marking again. Sanu sits beside him, tail twitching. You see how he burns, Raka murmurs. He'll burn too fast. Moro smiles faintly. Vento digs his claws into the dirt, itching. Their strategy is working. Let the old kings waste energy. Let them protect every corner, every pride, every shadow. The ash claws are many things, but above all, they are patient. Over the next 10 days, they strike like whispers, never direct, always from the edge. A stolen kill here, a wounded lioness there, a missing cub whose body is never found. Each act is surgical, not to destroy, but to drain, to stretch the Stone brothers thin, to make them question their control, to plant doubt in the hearts of their lionesses. Kale begins to crack. His limp is more pronounced now. He favors his right side, often trailing behind on patrol. He sleeps less, eats less, and his mane, once thick and regal, begins to mat and thin in patches. Still, he refuses to yield, because to yield is to die. One evening, Kale gathers his brothers under the baobab tree near the riverbank. Flies buzz. The air hangs heavy. We cannot be everywhere, Kale says, eyes low. They know this, they feed on it, Thoro growls. Then let them come. We will face them directly. Boro lifts his head slowly. They won't come to us, he says. They will make us come to them. Silence settles. Because deep down, they know Boro is right. This is not a war of strength. It is a war of time. And time does not favor the old. Meanwhile, the ash claws gather under moonlight. They speak little. Their communication has become intuitive. Head tilts, tail flicks, ear turns. Their bond is so refined they need no words. Raka draws a circle in the dust, places a small stone in its center. This is Kale, he says. He then places smaller bones around the edge. These are the prides. These are the lionesses, the cubs, his legacy. He then brushes the sand between the bones, wiping away the path that connects them. And this, he says, is how we take it all. Not by storm, but by separation, divide, isolate, crack, then collapse. Their first direct strike comes at twilight, not against a lion, but a mother, the lioness Sela, one of Kale's oldest pride mates. She is hunting alone, stalking impala near the water's edge. She never hears them. By the time the pride finds her, the only thing left is her blood. and the paw prints leading into the reeds. Kyle does not roar this time. He lowers his head. He knows. They are not testing anymore. The Stone Mane brothers pull back. They cluster the prides into the central territory, closer, tighter, harder to manage, but safer. It is a desperate move. Hunting becomes harder. Tensions rise. Fights break. Out between lionesses, cubs cry into the night, and across the ridge 4 shadows wait. They do not gloat. They do not celebrate, because they know the final move has yet to be made. One evening, the Ashclaws take a bold step. They cross the river, openly. No secrecy, no stealth. Raka leads, his paws stirring up the silt. Behind him, Vento, Moro, and Sanu stride with heads high. It is not arrogance. It is intention. They walk through the heart of what was once forbidden, through the grasslands once ruled by Mwamba, through the gullies that held the laughter of Kale's cubhood, through the scent-marked trails of the Stone Mane patrols. They do not look back because they know this kingdom is no longer his. That night the Ashclaws sleep beneath the fever tree, the same tree where Kale once lay, drenched in rain with dreams of ruling. But tonight he is not there. He is across the river, gasping under the weight of memory, the past slipping through his claws like sand. And the new kings? They do not dream. They plan. The rise is complete. But the war is not over, for to take a kingdom is one thing, to hold it is another. It begins with a sound. Not thunder, not wind, but a roar. Low, deep, drawn from the depths of a lion's soul. A sound that shakes the marrow of bones and stirs dust from the roots of ancient trees. It echoes across the plains. Then, another, and another, until the whole savannah is trembling with the voices of titans. The Stone Mane brothers have returned, and they are not coming quietly. The Ashclaw 4 had claimed territory. They had scattered prides. They had painted the riverbanks with victory. But in their silence, in their precision, they forgot one thing. Pride is not easily buried. Kale limps into the open, mane tangled, eyes bloodshot. But behind him walk Thoro and Boro. Not broken, not defeated, burning. This is not a tactical return, this is war. The lionesses, once dispersed, now desperate, watch from the tall grass. Some bear the Ashclaw's scent, others still carry the memory of the Stone Mane's reign. None intervene. This is not their battle. This is between kings. The confrontation begins at the northern flatlands, neutral ground, dry and cracked from weeks without rain. The Ashclaws arrive first, their bodies sleek, shoulders rippling beneath golden fur, eyes steady, movements sharp. They expect resistance, but not this. Not Kale, not standing, not roaring, but charging. The clash is unlike anything the land has seen. No posturing, no circling, just teeth, claws, fury. Kyle barrels into Raka with a force that surprises even the younger male. The two roll in a storm of dust and snarls, each bite meant to kill, not warn. Thoro slams into Vento like a boulder loosed from a cliff, fast, heavy, unstoppable. Their roars merge into a howl that sends birds erupting into the sky. Boro and Moro meet like ghosts. No noise, no fury, just a blur of violence, quick, brutal, silent. And Sanu? He doesn't wait. He flanks, watching, waiting, looking for weakness. This is not dominance. This is desperation. This is legacy, clashing with ambition. The Stone Main brothers fight not to win, but to remind the land who they were. The Ash Claws fight not to destroy, but to ensure the past does not return. Kale is wounded early. A deep gash across his ribs. His breathing becomes ragged, but he fights on. His mane catches in Raka's claws, tearing free. His eyes lock with the younger lions. There is no fear, only memory. Memory of running through this land as a cub, of roaring beneath the stars beside his brothers, of building something from nothing. He fights for more than survival. He fights for meaning. Thoro and Vento collapse into a shallow ditch, bodies thrashing. Thoro's ferocity is unmatched. He rips, strikes, throws. But Vento is agile. He dodges, rolls, counters. Each time Thoro lunges, he misses by inches. Each time he misses, his frustration grows, and in that rage, Vento sees his moment. A twist, a slash, a roar. Thoro's shoulder gives. His body stumbles, and for the first time, he looks old. Boro and Moro are evenly matched, but Moro fights with something deeper. He remembers the buffalo stampede, the brother he lost, the nights spent alone beneath the stars, howling into the wind. He fights not for power. He fights for a second chance. Their battle is the quietest, no grand slashes, no roaring. Just strike and counter, bite and dodge, until one no longer rises, and that one is Boro. Kale sees Thoro fall. He hears Boro's wheezing breaths, and still, he does not stop. His body is failing. His vision blurs, but he drags Raka down again, and again, refusing to let go, until his legs give, and he lies still. The Ash Claws stand victorious, but they do not roar. They do not celebrate. They look down at the fallen kings, bloody, broken, but proud. And they know. This was no easy victory. This was not a coup. This was a rite of passage. As the sun rises, the Ashclaw Four limp back toward the Central Territories. The land is theirs now, but with it comes a weight they hadn't felt before. Responsibility. Legacy. The echoes of those they defeated. Kale lies beneath the old baobab tree, chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. A lioness approaches, eyes wide, cubs at her side. She does not speak. She only lies beside him, for even in defeat, he is still a king who carved a kingdom from exile, who ruled with his brothers, who fought until the end. Nearby, Thoro stirs, bloodied, broken, alive. And Boro? Silent, watching the sky, even now. He watches. The land is quiet again, but beneath the silence lies a new truth. The Ash Claws have taken the throne, yet the ghosts of those who came before still walk the savannah, in every whisper of grass, in every distant roar, because in this kingdom, kings do not die. They become legend. After the storm, the savannah holds its breath. The winds are hushed, the grass flattened. The acacias stand like sentinels bearing witness to a new reign. The Ashclaw Coalition has taken the crown, but power here is never freely given. It must be defended. Not once, not briefly, but every moment of every day, because the savannah is not a kingdom built on stone. It is a throne of dust, balanced on blood. Raka leads now. He walks ahead of the others, not with arrogance, but certainty. He does not roar. He marks, he watches, he listens. Every sound is registered, every scent analyzed. He is no longer a challenger. He is a ruler. But this victory is young, and the land is watching. Their first task is not expansion, it is consolidation. The Vayam prides are fractured, scattered like leaves after the storm. Some lionesses fled during the battle, some stayed, silent and observant. Some nursed cubs fathered by the Stonemane brothers. The Ashclaws returned to these lands not with brutality, but with intent. Moro approaches the southern pride first. He walks slowly through the tall grass, his mane dusted with dry soil. Isiain, lionesses rise to meet him, tense and ready. A small cub mules behind its mother's legs. The scent of Kyle still lingers. Moro lowers his head. He makes no move toward the cubs. He does not snarl. He simply lies down. The lionesses exchange glances, confused, expectant, but Moro waits all night, and by morning one lioness moves closer, then another, and finally they lie beside him in the dust. A truce, unspoken. Elsewhere, Sanu reclaims the eastern territory. His methods are different. Less patience, more fire. He confronts, he asserts. He does not harm the cubs, but he makes his dominance clear. They are under his rule now, protected, guided. Not all lionesses trust him, but they fear him less than the unknown. And in the wild, trust can come later. For now, safety is enough. Vento moves to the river Pride. He knows this pride once favored Boro. He does not try to replace him. Instead, he watches from the shadows, just far enough to show respect but close enough to intervene if danger comes. When a rogue male approaches days later, it is Vento who charges first. His roar splits the silence. The rogue is chased off with torn flanks and a bruised ego. The lionesses witness it all, and by nightfall, Vento rests among them, not as a tyrant, but as a sentinel. Raka, meanwhile, remains at the center. He controls the core territory, Kale's old seat of power. But he does not claim the baobab tree. Instead, he visits it often, circling it in silence. Sometimes, he stands beneath its great limbs and looks out over the plains, as if asking permission, as if seeking guidance. The ghosts of Kyle, Thoro, and Boro are still here, and Raka respects the dead. Weeks pass. The land begins to shift. Rain arrives, in thin streaks teasing life back into the dry earth. Green shoots emerge from the cracked soil. Wildebeest herds begin their return. Birdsong returns to the mornings. It is the beginning of a new season, and for the Ashclaws, a new era. But even as balance returns, a threat looms on the fringes. Rogues, lions without names, exiles, survivors. Too young to challenge, too strong to ignore. They scent the upheaval. They track the changes. And they come hungry. Not just for meat, but for opportunity. The Ashclaws know this, for they were rogues once. And now, the cycle turns. One evening, a single rogue enters the North Borderlands. Young, reckless, scarred. He circles a lioness tending to two small cubs. His posture is bold, ears forward, tail erect. Sanu arrives like lightning. The fight is fast, violent. Final Sanu's fury is unmatched. He does not kill for territory, he kills to warn. The message is clear. This kingdom is not yours, not yet. But for every rogue chased away, another lingers. A pair is spotted near the eastern boundary. A trio stalks the river in the dead of night. Each time they vanish before conflict. Each time they leave signs. The Ashclaws cannot rest. For now they carry the burden of power, and with it, paranoia. Moro begins to sleep less. He paces at night. His body twitches in dreams. He growls at shadows. Raka grows quieter. He watches the skies as much as the ground. The vultures return earlier than expected this season. A strange omen. One day as Raka surveys the central plains, he spots something that chills his blood. Tracks. Large. Deep. Not one lion, but three. Moving with precision. Moving as a unit. Another coalition. This is no rogue band. These lions have trained. They have bonded. They have learned. Just like the ash claws once did. The days of peace grow thinner. Raka calls a summit beneath the fever tree. Each ash claw arrives with dust on his mane and blood beneath his claws. They say little. They understand what is coming. History, again, will test them. But now they are not challengers, they are defenders. The hunted are now the kings, and kings must stand. That night, Raka returns to the baobab tree. He stands where Kale once stood. He does not cry. He does not roar. He bows his head, not in fear, but in respect. Because the truth of the savannah is this: no reign lasts forever. No king holds the crown unchallenged. What matters is not how long you rule, but how well. The Ashclaw Coalition prepares, not for victory, but for legacy. Dawn rises, but it brings no comfort. The sun, once golden and warm, now bleeds red across the sky. A warning written in light. A new force approaches. Not whispers this time. Not shadows in the tall grass, but lions. Strong, fast, calculated. Coalition of three. Their presence is not guessed, it is felt. In the stillness of the wind, in the silence of the birds. In the sudden vanishing of prey animals. Something is coming, and the Ashclaws know. This is not a visit, it is a reckoning. They are called the Red Dune Males, born in the northern wastelands, forged in famine, tempered by the death of their siblings, rugged, silent, scar-bound. Their manes are coarse, streaked with red dust. Their eyes burn like coals. These are not hot-blooded challengers. They are tacticians. They do not roar. They do not charge. They study, and then they strike. The Ashclaws react with urgency. Raka calls the coalition to gather at the central basin, a narrow hollow ringed by low brush and open plains. There, he lays out the truth. We are not defending a patch of dirt, he seems to say, with his silence. We are defending a legacy. Every lion in the Ashclaws carries a scar now. Each one has led a pride, sired cubs, survived storms. They are no longer rebels. They are fathers, leaders, symbols. The lionesses sense the tension. They tighten their ranges. They keep the cubs close. They avoid the open. One lioness, Mara, speaks, with her eyes as she watches Raka from a distance. She has seen many coalitions rise, many fall. She knows that the battle ahead is not just over territory. It is over memory. And memory, in the wild, is carved in blood. Scouts report sightings near the eastern slope, claw marks on acacia trunks, fresh scent trails, bristling mane hair caught in the reeds, and then, one morning, a kill, a wildebeest carcass torn open, half consumed. No lion claims it. The message is clear. We're here. That night, Sanu goes alone. He tracks the red dunes, by scent, slipping through gullies and dry riverbeds. He finds them near the termite hills. 3 figures. One sits high back to the moonlight, massive and silent. One walks in circles, impatient. The third crouches, licking his paws slowly. Sanu doesn't charge. He watches, learns, returns. The ash claws are not facing boys. They are facing mirrors. Preparations begin, not in panic, but in rhythm. Each ash claw patrols a border. Moro sharpens, his claws on old marula bark. Vento listens for movements in the wind. Sanu guards the cubs with a fury unmatched. Raka sits at the basin. He breathes slowly. Each exhale, a choice. Then, the first move comes. One of the southern prides is raided. No blood, no bodies. But the lionesses are found scattered. A young cub is missing, a message. The ash claws converge on the area. But the red dunes are already gone. Like smoke, the coalition splits temporarily. Raka and Moro guard the western edge. Sanu and Vento reinforce the east. The lionesses move at night now. They shift locations, keeping the cubs beneath brush, behind ridges, under trees. Each moment is a calculation. Each day, a countdown. The war has not begun, but the horizon runs. At one evening, Vento vanishes. No sounds, no cries, just his scent. Gone. Sanu searches for hours. At dawn, he finds him, bruised, bleeding, alive, but broken. One of the red dunes fought him in the open. No territory claimed. No roar to mark the attack. Just power, precision, punishment. Sanu carries him back. The silence that follows weighs heavier than any roar. Raka does not sleep. He lies beneath the stars, eyes open, ears twitching. He thinks of Kale, of how it began, of how they had once been the shadow on the land, and now the shadows return. Finally it happens. The red dunes step forward, all three. Side by side, they walk through the western plain without fear. Past the herds, past the old elephant skeleton, past the watering hole. They are not hiding anymore. They are calling them out. Raka rises. No speech, no signal, just a nod. The ash claws follow. They meet on open ground, dry, cracked, scorched by the sun, no trees, no brush, nothing but truth. The two coalitions stare, 7 lions, 7 kings, 7 legacies, standing on the edge of war. The wind holds its breath. Then, Raka moves. What follows is not chaos. It is ballet, of fury, of instinct, of survival. Each lion meets his opposite. Raka clashes with the Red Dune leader, known by his massive build and torn left ear. Moro squares off against the scarred flanker, quick and ruthless. Sanu explodes into the third, a lean killer with lightning paws. The earth quakes beneath them. Dust clouds rise like smoke. No words, no hesitation, just ancient rhythm. Teeth, claw, muscle, blood. Sanu's opponent cuts him across the jaw. He snarls, spinning, countering, biting low. They roll down the shallow slope, snarls muffled by soil. Nearby, Moro roars as he's knocked back, but he rises instantly, shoulder bruised, eyes ablaze, and Raka. He stands his ground, taking every blow, every slam, every vicious strike, but still standing. The red dunes are fast, but the ash claws have something deeper, something earned, something older. Legacy. The fight rages into the night. Blood spatters grass, manes torn, paws bruised, but no lion falls. Not. Yet as the moon reaches its peak, the two coalitions slowly retreat. Not in defeat, but in mutual respect. Both bloodied. Both alive. The war is not over. But this battle is done. They disappear into the dark, licking wounds, sharpening rage. The land falls silent again. But it is not peace. It is the breath between storms. The horizon remains red, because the final battle is yet to come, and when it does, only one name will be remembered. The land holds its breath again. Wounds have scabbed over. Fur regrows. Scars begin to define, not deface. But something deeper brews beneath the silence. The Ashclaw Coalition walks slower now. Not from weakness, from calculation. Each step weighted with consequence. Each patrol a procession of legacy. They have ruled longer than most coalitions ever dream. But the ghosts of ambition have returned, and they do not sleep. The Red Dune. Males are not gone. They linger, stalking, listening, disrupting. This is no longer a test of strength. This is psychological war. They avoid direct combat. They haunt the borders. They tear down scent marks. They draw lines, then erase them. One morning, a lioness is found dead, not from predators, from lions. Her cubs are gone. The message is no longer subtle. This is not a challenge. It is an assault. Raka climbs the tallest ridge and surveys his kingdom. Below, wildebeests march across golden light. Giraffes chew in slow motion. The wind hums with tension. He blinks slowly, not in doubt, in acceptance. All rains end. But how they end, that's the story. He descends, finds Moro and Sanu resting in the shade. Vento lies nearby, still recovering, his mane thinner now, one eye partially closed. They do not speak. Raka simply walks past them, toward the southern ridge, toward the edge. At dusk, the red dunes return. They no longer slink in like shadows. They arrive boldly, openly, prepared. Three shapes. Muscle wrapped in dust, eyes locked forward. They are no longer invaders. They are executioners. The ash claws rise. Each step toward their enemies feels heavy. But it is not fear. It is finality. Every lion here knows this is the last battle. They meet at Sunspine Ridge, a flat, bare stretch of earth where once elephants fought and fell. Now two coalitions stand opposite. The wind stops, the trees bend, the prey vanish. This is no longer about land, or lionesses, or pride. This is the legacy of kings. No growls, no threats, only breath, only heartbeat. Then, impact. The earth quakes. Raka lunges at the red dune leader. Their bodies collide with thunder. Moro charges low, slamming into the flanker like a bull. Sanu screams as he pounces, uncoiling like a snake into his rival. The war has begun, and it is brutal. Claws tear across flesh. Teeth scrape bone. Fur shreds in ribbons of blood. Raka bites deep into his opponent's neck, but the lion rolls, trapping him in a choke. They tumble, choking, wheezing, snarling. Nearby, Moro is pinned, but he bucks with a roar and slams his skull into the enemy's chest. Sanu breaks his rival's grip with a twist, lunges and locks onto a leg. Bones snap. But the red dune male counters, slicing across Sanu's ribs with sharp, perfect fury. There is no music here, no poetry, just war. Pure, primal, final. Vento watches from a rise. He can barely stand, but he drags himself forward, slowly, painfully, toward the fight. He knows this is where his name must be carved, even if it's the last breath he gives. Raka rises through dust and blood. His mane hangs in clumps. His eye is nearly swollen shut, but he walks forward, toward the leader, again. The red dune lion growls, crouches, then charges. They meet with bone-rattling force. And this time, Raka doesn't hold back. The fight is wild, unchained. Raka bites into the shoulder, throws the lion onto his side, slams a paw into the face. The red dune male counters, striking, biting, rolling. But Raka won't yield. Not now. Not after everything. He pins him. He holds him. He roars. Not in rage. Not in victory. In memory of Kale. Of Thoro. Of Boro. Of the years of hunger, exile, and defiance. Of every step that led to this moment. Nearby, Moro pushes himself up. His opponent limps backward, breath shallow. Sanu lies still, but he breathes. Barely. The battle breaks apart. The red dune males retreat. Bloodied. Limping. Not vanquished, but defeated. Not by strength, by will. The ash claws stand. All four. Bleeding. Burned, unbroken. They do not chase. They do not roar. They simply turn and walk back into their kingdom. It is not triumph. It is survival. And sometimes, that is the greatest power of all. Time passes, wounds heal, cubs grow, the grass returns, tall and green. The lionesses roam freely again. The prides flourish, and the ash claws rule on quietly, no longer seeking more, just keeping what was earned. Bento watches the sunsets now. Alone, often. He's slower. But when the cubs see him, they follow. Not because he's fierce, because he's theirs. Moro walks the old trails Kale once marked. He nods to the trees, to the rocks, to memory. Sanu has new scars, but also a new calm. He no longer snaps at the wind. He listens and teaches the young males how to track, how to fight, how to survive. And Raka? Raka climbs the baobab tree one last time, not to rule, to remember. He lies beneath it, his eyes close, not in pain, in peace. The coalition remains. For a few more seasons, time will one day scatter them, like all kings. But while they are here, the savannah is balanced, wiser, stronger, because of them. The throne was built on dust, but they made it hold. Time walks quietly in the savannah. It does not roar. It does not run. It drifts, like mist between morning shadows. And in that hush, where the lions sleep and grasses sway like whispers, the memory of kings lingers. Years have passed. The Ash, Claw Coalition, once fierce and feared, is now the stuff of legend. Their stories float between acacia branches, carried in the calls of hyenas, the silence of vultures, the wary steps of jackals. They are not seen often, but they are felt in every ridge, every kill site, every boundary line still respected, because this land remembers. Raka is gone. He vanished quietly beneath the silver dawn. No fanfare, no final battle, just one last walk to the baobab, and then stillness. The lionesses found him there, curled like a cub beneath the great roots. His eyes closed, his breath stilled. The mighty Raka, who led them from obscurity to dominance, now part of the soil he once ruled. Moro stayed longest. His mane thinned, his body slowed, but his fire never dimmed. He guarded the prides like a sentinel, patrolling the borders not out of duty but out of devotion. One dusk he faced down a young rogue male alone and drove him off. Wounded, yes, Weary, yes, but unbroken. He died a few months later, beneath a storm, eyes toward the horizon, ears still listening. Sanu vanished into myth. Some say he left the territory, sought solitude in the eastern valleys, far beyond the known grasslands. Others believe he died protecting cubs from a buffalo stampede. No bones were found. No body, just rumors. And in a land ruled by story, that is immortality. Vento lives still, older than any coalition lion before him, blind in one eye, scarred from mane to paw. He doesn't patrol. He teaches. He limps between the young lions now, grandsons of the ash claws, and tells them how to read the wind, how to sense danger before it steps. They listen in awe, because Vento is not a lion anymore. He is a monument. And what of the Red Dune males? Their story faded like a mirage. One was seen limping north, another was found dead near a crocodile pool. The last, gone. Like so many kings who burn bright, then vanish like smoke in morning. Light, they are not hated. They are not praised. They are remembered as the test that proved the Ash Claw's legacy. Across the savannah, the land has changed. New prides form. Old ones dissolve. The rains fall sooner now and longer. But some things remain. The Hill of Kings. Rise marked by old claw scars and weathered bones remains sacred. Lions visited in the dusk hours. They sniff the stones. They press their paws into the faded trails, not to challenge, to honor. In the southern reaches, a young coalition rises. 2 brothers and a cousin. Strong, bold. But they do not kill cubs. They do not waste kills. They lead with calm. Some say they carry the blood of the ash claws. Others say they simply follow their example. Either way, the legacy holds. And in the central basin, near the waterhole once ruled by Raka himself, a mother lion rests with her 2 sons. The males are nearly grown. One is silent, one is bold. They play beneath the stars, wrestling gently, their roars still uncertain. But when danger comes, a hyena pack approaching, they do not flee. They face it, side by side. Together, the hyenas retreat. The mother watches. Her eyes glisten, not in pride, in recognition. She has seen this before, not in these bodies, but in echoes. Because lions do not truly die. Not here. Not in this land. They become the grass, the trees, the silence after a roar, the wind before a hunt. They are in the gaze of a newborn cub, the stance of a growing prince, the shadows cast. At sundown, the kings may fall, but their echoes remain. Forever. And so the story does not end. It simply transforms. As all legends do. As all kings must.